Hello, BookTube. I've got a quick tag for you today on a Saturday, not a Tuesday. I want to get my videos done early today before the heat of the day really settles in. It's just the sort of thing you want to do in late October in New England. I was tagged in an original tag, Pat, at Book Chat with Pat. Came up with a tag called the BookTube Community Joy and Gratitude tag in acknowledgement of having reached 2,000 subscribers. And for some reason, I was one of the people that she tagged, even though I mercilessly tease her. And it's a really good one, too. So I thought we'd just go through it here, and I will leave a link to her original video. The first couple of questions come out of the heading of joy. And the first prompt is, name an author whose books bring you joy, or discuss a specific book that made you feel joyful. And an author who brings me joy almost all the time is one that I feel a little guilty bringing up, because I don't know how many of you have noticed. Actually, I know quite a few of you have, because I get the emails and the Voxer messages. But I have drastically dropped the ball on Victober this year. Oh my God. Drastically. I planned on doing a Victober video every day, and here it is the 19th of October. I haven't done any. Nevertheless, although I haven't been making the videos, Victober is, for those of you who are brand new to BookTube, it's a venerable BookTube event designed to celebrate Victorian literature. And although I haven't been making the videos, I have been doing the reading. And the bulk of the reading I've been doing is just, of course, Trollope. Anthony Trollope. I love him so much. And I was realizing the other day that this prompt actually is true. This actually does apply to him. He brings me joy. Even the less effective books, even the ones that I think are a little tedious or go on a little too long, I still love his presence on the page. He's so much fun to be around. That I think that would definitely apply, that he brings me joy. And then prompt number two for joy is, discuss something about BookTube that you find joyful. And here I would have a hard time narrowing down the choices, because it's a lot. It would be easier for me to come up with a list of things that I find that are irritating, because there's most of what I watch on BookTube or get from BookTube or put into BookTube, I very much enjoy. Even some, I don't know if you can hear that background noise. Someone is carving something into something. Fine time to do scrimshaw, I guess, first thing in the morning before the heat bails in. Maybe the camera will cut it out. Once upon a time, for years on this channel, for instance, I had trolls, regular trolls, who commented on every single video, every single one without fail, and who downvoted every single video without fail. And they seem to have given up. Also, I don't know, those of you who have been with me for a long time will remember that we're a couple of years there in a row where also every video got salacious spam bots just attached to every video. YouTube's filtering system seemed just not to catch them. And all of that has stopped. I don't get any of that anymore. So even those negative sides are gone. Instead, the stuff that makes me joyful about BookTube, I look forward to it every day. To talking to my imaginary BookTube friends about bookish subjects or quasi-bookish subjects, I love it. Absolutely, all of it makes me joyful. It's as I've said many, many times, it's a net positive in my life. And then the next batch here is friendship. And the prompt here is, discuss a book that focuses primarily on friendship. And this one is on my mind because I had intended to reread it from front to back this year, and I did not. I have not got around to it. It's a famous example when it comes to a book about friendship. It's Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry, which is about a lot of things. It's about high adventure. It's about fathers and sons. But at the heart, it's about one major element is a friendship between the two male characters, the two main male characters. Don't have any other reason. It's not a mercantile relationship. It's just that they're friends with each other. And I thought about it during June on the Range. I meant to get back to this book this year, and I did not do it. But so that's on my mind for friendship. So I might as well use an obvious answer this time around. Then the next prompt is laughter, because we do a lot of laughing in this corner of BookTube. Although sometimes ominous shadows loom over. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes some of us get sick or have tragedy or dip out of BookTube for one or another a negative reason. But nevertheless, there's a lot of laughter here. And the prompt is, discuss an author or specific book that makes you laugh. Excuse me. And this one was a recent reread. I reread a book that, oh my God, it must be 100 years old by now, or going on there. Our Hearts Were Young and Gay by Emily Kimbrough and Cornelia Otis Skinner. Our Hearts Were Young and Gay was a phenomenon in its time. The book was a phenomenon 100 years ago, or whenever it came out. And everybody knew it. Everybody read it. Oh my God, if you were working in a bookstore, one customer after another would come in and say, I want that heart book. And you had to know what they were talking about. Because if you gave them a book on coronary disease, they wouldn't be happy. They'd get it home and they wouldn't be happy. Or they'd have it gift wrapped, God forbid, and sent to somebody. And they'd open it and say, what the hell is this? You had to know what book they were talking about. And it's delightful and lighthearted. It's two young women just having travel adventures. There are bits and pieces of it that probably the blue-haired, censorious Twitter police would have objections to now in the 24th century, but in 2024. But I overlooked that completely. I loved rereading it. So I'm going to go with that for laughter. And then we have Community, which is a big part of BookTube, a huge part. When I make videos, I feel like I'm making them for a select group of people that just keeps growing. That group just keeps growing over time. And the prompt here is discuss a book where the idea of community is important. And again, this brought to mind a book that I meant to reread this year, but I don't actually have a copy at the moment. I've had multiple copies and I give them away to people because it's a YA book, and it's one of those YA books that virtually anybody who reads fiction is going to like it. It's by Karen Hess, and it's called The Music of Dolphins. And it's the form of the successive journal entries of a young girl who is rescued when she is very little from a pod of dolphins. Somehow people who are passersby on the ocean find a young girl living with a pod of dolphins in the ocean, and they don't know how this happened at first. Naturally, they take her from that pod, and she has to acclimate to the human world, to human ways of talking, human ways of looking at the world. And as the journal entries go on, they become less crude and crayon-like and more elaborate, more refined, and longer. And it's wonderful. And it's all about community. It's actually about a really good novel about changing your communities. So it spoke to me on a very personal level, but it's also very, very enjoyable. I used to see it all the time in secondhand bookstores. I haven't seen it in forever. So next time I see a copy, I will grab one, but it's called The Music of Dolphins by Karen Hess. I cannot recommend it strongly enough. You will really like it. And the next community prompt is discuss a communal reading experience that you have had. And I don't have the essential BookTube reading experience of the buddy read. I don't have that. Nobody wants to buddy read with me because I smell. But I have had the next best thing, which is read-alongs on this channel. We've done a ton of them. A ton of read-alongs. And just recently, last year and this year, I introduced also an added wrinkle to that, which is a read-aloud, where we're not just buddy reading the book, but I'm actually reading the book to you. I stopped doing that earlier this year, and I don't think there's time to do a whole new book for the rest of what's left of this year. But I really, really enjoyed it, and apparently from the responses that I got, so did you. So it's close. I wish I could be part of a buddy read. I joke about the smell part. I think the reasons why I'm not part of buddy reads is, well, there are a couple. Almost certainly I will have already read the book, and a lot of times the fun part of a buddy read is that you're all reading it for the first time together. And also, a little more awkwardly, I will read it much faster than everybody else in the buddy read, and that can make things awkward. I understand there are legitimate reasons why you wouldn't have me along for a buddy read. Still, it'd be nice to be asked. Anyway, read-alongs on my channel. There you go. I'm doing two right now. I'm doing Dune for the umpteenth time, and I'm also doing. We just finished Bring Up the Bodies by Hilary Mantel, and we're going to go back to Wolf Hall. I think we can get Wolf Hall done by the end of this year. By the time I disappear in December, I think we can get it done by then. That's 2 whole months. And then the final prompt here is gratitude, which is name a book in which a character demonstrates real gratitude, or name a book that left you with a sense of gratitude. And here's a book that I want to recommend. There are many books like it. This one I liked, but I've liked a lot of others too. It's by Michael Lindnord, and it's called Rescue Dog Tales. If you type in, if you go to Amazon and type in rescue dog, you'll get a ton of books like this. Basically, they're all the same in that they tell stories about dogs who were rescued and given a second chance to find a home, to find a loving home. And believe you me, those dogs are grateful. I have known a number of those dogs, and they are grateful, very, very grateful for that. They don't take it just as a weird way that the world is changing. They know that they've been saved. And in Lindner's book especially, most of the humans say the same thing. Most of the humans say, well, my dog definitely knows that I saved him. I just hope he knows that he saved me, too. Most of the humans say that. Ironically enough, despite the fact that I have a knack for dogs and love them quite a bit, I have almost never done this myself. As I've said many times on this channel, it's really weird. I admit that it's weird, but usually when I am in a space to acquire a dog, to add someone to my family, usually fate will arrange that. As weird and hippy-dippy as that sounds, usually fate will arrange it. I will find a dog at that moment and not before. I will have someone reach out and say, I have a dog and you're my only chance. I don't have the time to go through the vetting process to make sure this dog gets a good home. I know you are a good home. Will you help me? You're my only chance to do this. Usually that will happen. And when I say usually, I mean all the time. Fate always does that. So I almost never have to rescue a dog explicitly. But nevertheless, this book is full of stories of people who did. It's extremely heartwarming. And so are all the books like it. The people who do this are doing God's work. I'm very happy when I read those stories. And that's it. The only other prompt here is to tag people to help spread this sense of joy and gratitude on BookTube. I want to offer congratulations to Pat, of course, for hitting the big 2,000. But also, I want to echo her own video. I'll leave a link to her video. I want to echo her video and just encourage you all to do this. Any BookTuber will feel grateful for BookTube. I feel pretty sure every once in a while you'll find a BookTuber who comes on, doesn't make 1 million subscribers in a week, and spends the rest of the time on book. They don't leave. They stay, but they spend the rest of the time griping about BookTube, saying how it's a rigged system and how it's awful and all these people are in cahoots with each other. I don't know why you would keep making videos just to complain, but people do. But for the most part, it's gratitude. I'm sure that if you're a BookTuber, you probably feel grateful for this whole community. So feel free to do this tag. And let me know and give me some book recommendations. But in the meantime, I'm going to wrap this up. But I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.